Thank you so much for joining us, Kalee. We are so happy to have you here on Mom Life Unfiltered. This season, we are talking to mompreneurs, and Kalee is a mompreneur. Tell us a bit more about what you're working on, what your business is, and basically how you got started.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really excited to be here and talk and have a conversation. But my name's Kalee, and I own a video editing company that I started in January of 2019. We focus on editing custom family films for our main market is families with kids, but we also edit films for grandparents and business owners. We our whole goal is to allow the videos that sit on our phone to have new purpose and new life, so that they don't just sit there and we never watch them anymore. So we take all of those videos that you record that sit in your cloud for years and years and turn them into something viewable and watchable and enjoyable.
Wow. So I love that. So what was the aha moment that you had that made you go, okay, this is a business?
Yeah.
What was that? Walk us through that.
So I actually didn't have that aha moment. My husband had it first. I was doing it for our kids. I was making a video for them for their first birthday or for their birthday every year, and got really impatient waiting for their birthday to make it every year because I enjoyed the creative process of making it so much. And then we enjoyed watching them so much. And so at one point I had the thought of, I could just make this every month if I wanted to. Like, no one's telling me I can't do that. And so one day during nap time, when my kids were like 6 months old and 2.5, I decided to make one of just like the last couple months of all of our videos together. And it was a really impactful moment in my life of being a mother. I had 2 under 2, and I was really having a hard time. And it really opened my eyes to all of the great things that we were doing together and the life we were living. And my husband enjoyed it, and my son loved to watch it, and everyone was enjoying this so much. And so one day my husband was like, you could really make a business out of this if you wanted to. And I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I can't run a business. I was a teacher. I was teaching middle school history at the time. And I was like, there's no way I can't do that. I wouldn't even know where to begin. But it just kind of like stayed in the back of my mind a little bit. And to think of, like, to kind of get myself into it, I started offering the service to people that I knew. And I would ask them, would you send me your videos, and could I just see if I could do this for you and let me know what you think about it? And so I was doing a couple videos for people for free, just to see if it was something that was possible. I had never edited for anyone other than myself. And it's a really personal thing to hand over your footage to somebody else.
It is.
Yeah, right. There's some, you have horrible moments on camera. And so in all of that time, my husband ended up getting transferred. And so I wasn't working anymore. I was kind of like in a lull, and I couldn't find a new teaching job. It was in the middle of the year. So staying at home with my kids, and I was scrolling social media one day, and someone that I had followed on Instagram was asking people what they do with their videos. And very unlike me, because I'm very type A. I love to have a plan. I want things to go in my own direction. I sent her a DM on Instagram and was like, well, I could edit them for you. And sure enough, she was like, yeah, I love that. So she sent me her videos, and I edited them with no business plan or anything in mind. And she loved it so much and shared it. And within a day, I had a company that I was running and was having to make everything up on the fly in those early years. So that's kind of where it started. And I was just chasing a freight train for a long time. But here now in year 7, and feel pretty secure with where we're at.
That's amazing. So I love that you didn't feel like you needed to have a plan. You just started.
Yeah.
And it was kind of marinating back there a bit. And so you were like, the seed was planted. Your husband planted the seed. And so it's kind of like, I feel like you were revisiting it. I remember you telling me, do you only hire moms as editors?
Yeah, we have a team, or I have a team of 9 editors, and they're all moms.
That's
and it didn't really start out that way. It started out with when I first started and I was chasing this train, I couldn't keep up by myself. And so a friend of mine from college, who we have kids all the same age, I was like, hey, I need your help. Will you help me with this? And she was like, yeah, I'd love to. So it was just her and I for a while. And then we hired another friend from school. And so it started out with it was just these people I knew. All these people I knew were moms. And we were we worked really well together, just this small little group. And as we started growing, we had to kind of bring more people in, and they just all ended up being mothers. And it really, I kind of got to this point where I was like, really only moms could do, in our opinion, moms can do what we're doing the best, because it's moms giving us their footage, sharing with us their families. And when you become a parent, you just have a new perspective on children and life and what's important. And so it has just kind of evolved that way to where when we do hire, new editors, I'm really just looking for people who are mothers who are looking for some kind of career change, or they want to just do something extra on the side for themselves. I have a lot of stay-at-home mom editors that they just want something for themselves, right? They want to contribute to their family system, and that has worked out really, really wonderfully for us.
And with that, I think I appreciate, and I believe other moms appreciate, that you're hiring moms as editors, because it is personal, private footage.
Right.
And so it kind of establishes brand trust.
Yeah, that's the whole goal. And when, they send us an email of could you please just make sure that, I'm in the background and I know I sound bossy and don't judge me. And it's like, oh girl, there's no judgment. All of that, I sound bossy all the time, or I've lost my temper on a video, or, when I train my editors, we always talk about finding the moments in video that, aren't explicitly important, but you would know as a parent how important it is. When a mother prompts their child to repeat a phrase, or when they're taking video of something that you would think, if you weren't a parent, you would wonder why someone would take a video of that. But as a mom, if I see another mother taking a video of their child's hands holding something, it's like, oh yeah, they really want to remember this piece of their child when they're 2. And if I were just to be hiring people on Fiverr who are video editors, who I'm sure are very, very talented, they aren't going to necessarily have that same world and life perspective that I think moms bring to the table.
So I want you to talk about, how do you balance, you focus on helping other moms create these beautiful memories, right? And this is your business. And so how do you balance also keeping and having those memories and having the time to create those memories in your own family versus, pouring and ensuring that moms are receiving that same kind of capsule that you're creating through video?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And you're right about the success part. It at the beginning for me, it felt so much where if I did not gain income every year, right? If we did not grow every year, then I had failed. And while we did gain income for the first couple of years, that first year that I lost money I didn't make as much money as I had previously, I was devastated. And I told my husband, I was like, it's over. This is done. I lost the whole thing. Right. He was like, Kalee, you're good, and it has come to this point of exactly what you're saying of, I had to figure out where this spot is for me to where I feel like this is enough, this is good enough, and this is where we are. And it took a long time to get there. It's much harder than people think it is. And even, being a 6-figure company, the difference between 100 and 300K in the work you have to put in to get to that difference is huge. Absolutely. And so I can't even imagine the 300 to the 1 million. It would just be insane. Right. And so, but the balance has been, I'm not going to lie. It's been very difficult. My kids, when I started, they were almost They were 3 and almost 2. So they're 20 months apart.
So they were littles.
They were little. Yes.
Yeah.
Now they're 10 and almost 10 and 8. And, I did not have them in any type of childcare because it was still very much of this, like, I felt like we were never going to survive. Like we were still very much in the survivor mentality of finances. And so I thought, oh, I can do this without childcare. It will be fine. I learned very quickly I could not. And I had to surrender that first of like, they don't have to be at home. Like I cannot successfully run this business with them home with me 24/7. This is not going to work. And so that was the first step, was admitting that to myself and putting them in a part-time preschool. They weren't even in daycare full time. They just went to like a Mother's Day out 4 hours a day.
That's cute.
It made a big difference. Just having those, uninterrupted 4 hours was huge for me. And I was able to get work done. And then I was also, when I had that knowledge that I was going to have work time, it made it much easier for me to focus on them when I had them. So it was, I don't have to be in front of my computer right now. I can take this time to, play or do what they're asking of me because I know I'm going to get this time later. Right. But then it was COVID, and then they really were home with me 24/7 without any childcare. And, in those times of that balance, it was really just, I worked when I could. There's some photos that I have, of like, I took a photo one time of like, I'm sitting in the hallway while they're taking a bath and I'm editing a video while they're in the bathtub. Like that was the kind of work that I was doing. But
those are the best stories though.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
That's the best. Right.
Right. Yeah. Where you just, I would find these pockets of time and I would work and I would go back and forth and come back and forth and back and forth for hours and hours and hours. And it was really stressful to do it that way, but it worked, right? Like we made it work. And I don't have it perfect. I still don't have the balance down, the way that I think that I would like it, but that's just because I'm a parent and they're children and they need me, and I can't ever predict when they're going to need me and when they're not. And it's more for me, not really about the balance of time, but more about the balance of my mentality in working and being a mother at the same time. And just having the knowledge of like, I'm going to get to this. I know it's still going to be here when I get back and it will be okay. And that's the other great thing about having mothers as clients is they get it. If I have to email them and say, listen, I'm really sorry, but this video is going to be, 2 days later than the promised turnaround time because I had a sick kid or because of this, they're like, oh, don't even worry about that. That's no big deal. And that's happened very infrequently. But whenever it has happened, people have been so understanding because they get it too, right? Like they're also balancing that same lifestyle as well.
And I think you talked about something that's key. Moms probably won't ever get the balance because you're dealing with children that are constantly growing. Their needs are shifting every day, right? And so once you think you have it, next week
it's over.
You might not have it. Right.
Someone stops napping or they, like they've got a camp they got to go to. Like it's never, you never have it.
Right. You never have it. And that's okay because there's no such thing. I like that you said, I'm a parent. There's no such thing as having this perfect balance. Right. There's always something that I'm sure you strive for, but sometimes it could be unattainable realistically. You know what I mean? We all are trying to strive for something. But realistically, at the end of the day, life is already so full and demanding in itself. And then you have littles that have their own demands and their own lives that they're creating and you're co-creating with them. Right. What would you say, speaking of success, how do you gauge success? Like, what is success for you? And how did you get to this space of going, okay, this is what success is when it comes to business and motherhood?
Yeah.
And this, of course your answers don't have to be perfect, but I'm curious
Yeah, no, I don't know that I've ever actually put any words to it. So I really appreciate that question. I think for me on the business side, success to me is, am I still enjoying what I'm doing? Am I still providing a valuable service to people? And am I still able to support my family with this project, right? This business. And as long as the answer to those things are yes, then I feel successful. Now, there are many times during the year where I don't feel successful because I don't feel like, like I'm not enjoying my job, or I feel like I'm not providing a valuable service, or whatever that may be. But it has really, in the last probably 2 years, finally, I've gotten to that point of, because when you own your own business and you're in charge of everything and you see everything, you see the money going in and out, you see the social media strategies that you're using, they're successful or they fail, and then you feel like you're succeeding or failing. You are hiring and firing. You are doing a bulk of the work. Like, I have 8 editors, but I'm still editing 80% of the footage that comes in the door. Wow. And so I'm still doing most of the work day in and day out that requires the company to run. And when you're doing all of those things, each of those little pieces has a different success measure. And it can be so easy to allow one piece to pull all the other pieces down. And it's exhausting to just
like domino effect.
Exactly. Right. And when you work from home, you're never away. Like, my husband works out of the home, so he gets to go to his job and then come back and leaves most of it. I mean, sometimes, it's really stressful and he'll bring it home, but most of the time he gets to leave his work at work and he gets to come home and enjoy, home. But I've always got my laptop sitting here, or the emails coming in on my phone, or whatever it may be. And so there's just, it can be hard to compartmentalize all the boxes of success. But I feel like in the last 2 years, I've gotten better about taking my wins when I get them, and then just trying to let the losses just go and not define the next 6 months of social media usage or whatever it, may be. Right. And so that's really for that. And then, it's just this constant balance of trying to find success as a businesswoman and also find success as a parent, and also not let those bump into each other too. Like, right. I could be a successful mother and be an unsuccessful business person that day, and vice versa. Like, I can have a successful business day and an unsuccessful mothering day, which happens more often than I would like to admit. But yeah, it's just tricky, right? Like, I just don't think there's one easy way to answer that. And the answer really is different for every person. But for me, I feel the most successful when I feel like I've accomplished something for the day and still left time at the end of the day for my family. And that's kind of what it's come down to.
No, that's it. That's a real key right there.
Yeah.
To feel like you've been able to do the things and then still have time. Mm-hmm. I mean,
so bandwidth.
Right. Bandwidth, time, because you can have also time and then you're fried.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Right.
So what do you feel makes you feel most alive and activated right now in your life?
Oh man. For me, at this point, really, I think it's watching as cliche as it sounds, my kids are in such a great age where, like, they're succeeding and growing in so much of their life, that it really puts everything into perspective when I get to watch them succeed at what they want to do or accomplish things that they want to accomplish. And it gives you this boost too. Like, for a great example is my daughter is a very high achieving individual. She has very high standards for herself. She has very lofty goals for herself, and puts a lot of pressure on herself only by her own accord. Like, we don't put any pressure on that girl, but she figures out a way. Yes, to lay it on her. Lay it on her
already.
Yeah. And so, this summer, she decided she wanted to join, and she's also kind of an anxious kid. And so she doesn't like to be so she puts all this pressure on herself to succeed, but hates to be in the spotlight. So anytime she succeeds and then is in the spotlight, she gets really upset and she's like, I don't want any attention. And so this summer she decided she wanted to be in a theater camp. And it's an expensive camp. And I debated with my husband for quite a few weeks, and we were like, do we really want to pay for this? Like, I'm really worried I'm going to take her and she's going to hate it. And I don't want to drop her off and waste all this money, on and on and on. Well, we decided to he was like, no, we need to do it. She said she wants to do it. Let's just do it. Let's see what happens. So we put her in this theater camp, and the girl is just thriving. She loves it. Oh. Her confidence is just through the roof. She signed up herself for another theater production in the fall. And like that for me, at this point in my parenting journey, is what makes me feel the most fulfilled and alive, because I get to watch her do something that I had really very little part in, other than kind of pushing her her through her struggles. And she had a really tough winter and spring where she was really down on herself and wanting to quit multiple activities. And so to watch her just like blossom and like have this newfound sense of self really provides me, at least, with just like so much pride for her that you can just take that into anything you do. At least for me, it's like I can ride that feeling for her into work, into, things with my son or whatever. And so, yeah, I think that's this middle age of being a mother is just so fulfilling in such a different way than having babies and toddlers, where like they're learning how to do basic human things. But now my kids are humans doing their own things. And it's just incredible to watch them do what they want to do.
I love that, because she didn't want to be in the spotlight. Right. And then she's in theater and thriving, and you get to witness that, you know what I mean? And that sounds fulfilling to me, just hearing you share the story, because it sounds like she turned a corner. She's had a pivotal moment where she's like, I actually do want to be in the spotlight, but in this way.
Right.
It may not
taking control of herself.
Way, but this is another way that I can shine, that I enjoy.
Yeah.
Let's talk about surrendering, and can you recall a time that you recently just had to surrender?
Yeah. Oh gosh. Oh, so many. There's just so many times, like it's just, most recently, it's just summer. Summer requires a lot of resolve and surrender for me. I always go into summer with this amazing plan in place. Like, this is how we're going to do this. This is how I'm going to work, and you're going to have a great summer, and on and on and on and on. And it never works that way. And, the sooner that I come to realize that, the better our summer ends up. But, that one is always really tricky. It always requires a lot of adjustment and pivoting on my part, of letting go of my expectations for how this is going to work for us. And gosh, I mean, when my kids were little, there was so many times where just all these little moments that stack up of, I'm working and I really need to get this done, but they're having such a difficult time that I would have to just stop what I was doing and tend to them, or take care of what they needed to take care of. And in the moment of that, having to stop what I was doing, I would get so frustrated and I would be so angry, because I am very much the kind of person who I like to finish the task that I've started. Like I said before, like I measure my success by how much I get done that day. Right. And so if I have to stop my task, it's like, oh, I'm unsuccessful. Right. And so in those moments, it would make me upset. I would get angry. I would get frustrated with them. But now that I'm in this new phase of parenthood where they don't need me as much anymore, I can see how all of those times really allowed me to kind of build up the stamina to be able to do that easier with them as they're older. And even though I wasn't great at it then, it's allowed me to be better at it now, right? It's like that practice. It's the practice makes progress mentality, right? In motherhood of, like I used this example with the other day with somebody, where when you are a parent of a little kid, everything feels like the end of the world to you. Like when they're sick, it's the end of the world. When they get hurt, it's the end of the world. Or you're stressed, or they're not going to grow, or there's just so much to be worried about all the time. And then as they get older, all of those things are still there, but there's actually bigger problems to handle. Like my daughter with her, her struggles with her identity and how she was going to perform and be herself. So then all of those things that used to be such a big deal aren't such a big deal anymore. But if we don't go through them in that moment of panic when they're little, then when they're bigger, it's going to seem so insurmountable because I've got actual bigger problems I have to handle with them too. And so I think that that's like, maybe we do surrender these things, or we have to give up certain things, and it makes us feel really frustrated. And I think as moms, we want to feel guilty that we feel real feelings about being interrupted or not able to move forward with our lives. But if we can see them as this act of surrender is just practice for later, I think we can give ourselves a lot more grace for how difficult it really is to do the thing, like whatever it is that you're doing.
Yes. Yes, yes, and yes. I mean, because surrendering isn't easy.
Right.
It isn't easy. This idea of letting go isn't necessarily, people think, oh, you can just let go. It's not that simple.
No. Yeah.
There's a process, like you were talking about, with letting go. There's a whole process. And sometimes it may take you that moment, or it may take weeks or months or years to let go, depending upon the gravity of the situation.
Right.
What have your children taught you that that you never knew before becoming a mom?
Oh gosh, I have so much more patience than I ever thought was humanly possible for me. And I'm not even still that patient of a person. Like there are moms that I still strive to be as patient and calm and loving as. But I have one child who is just the most brilliant button pusher of all time. And they require me to use all of my coping strategies every single day. Like I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to walk away. I'm going to come back. And I'm not good at it every single day. And really, they've taught me an extreme level of patience, but also they have really showed me how to not be so hard on myself. I used to just tear myself apart when I failed them. And when I felt like I had failed them, and I did. Like I wasn't the greatest mother when they were little. I was so stressed and it was really difficult. But the way that kids are able to show up every day, like the previous day never happened, really allowed me to get to a point of forgiving myself, forgiving them, moving on. I used to be a very, I wasn't a grudge holding kind of person, but things used to bother me for a long time. And I would have a really hard time getting over them. Or why would someone do this? Or why did this happen this way? And they've really showed me how you can just cut your losses, apologize, love each other, and just keep going forward. And that has been a really valuable lesson for me in motherhood, for sure.
And I mean, first of all, children are so present.
Right.
They're so present. I mean, and rightfully so. They're not thinking about bills. They're not thinking about, all the things that we think about as adults. So they are able to show up the next day and really teach us, we can let that go.
Right.
They're not still, right.
Like, what
They're
do
not
you
still
do for
harping.
lunch? Yeah.
Right. They're not harping on that. They're not
Right.
saying it. And even if they are, I find that some children have ways of still showing up and being present without being a specific way towards their parents.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
we
that
do not deserve that. That is for sure.
Yeah, that's a big takeaway. I'm happy that you talked about that because I think that children can teach us so much, first of all, but that's a big takeaway right there, along with patience. Like you said, patience is a big one. How do you think being a mom has shaped how you are in business?
Oh, that's a good question. Gosh, I mean, I wouldn't even have this business without them. Like, that's first and foremost. Without being a parent, this would have never happened. And I am immensely grateful for all of the struggles that the three of them, or the two of them and myself, the three of us went through in those first 2 years of our lives together to get us to this point. I hope one day, the goal one day is to share that with them. They don't understand that or know that now, but I do hope one day we can have that discussion together and I can thank them for sticking with me, right? And all of that, all that struggle. And, gosh, I think that there are things that being a business person requires of me that are my own personal strengths, but also show up in motherhood too. Like just being able to multitask and being able to hold multiple ideas in my brain at one time while still providing what they need for the day. And it's just like this constant brain exercise. Sometimes it feels like where I have to shift roles all the time. And, when you're a mom, you do that too, right? You are a chef and then a nurse and then a therapist and then a teacher and then a playmate. And then, you're like constantly filling in a gap where there is a gap. And when you own a company that there are all kinds of gaps every single day that you're having to problem solve and figure out how to plan for. And I think that being a mom really provided me with a lot of skills that I was not expecting to spill over, but they did.
Yeah. I feel like you touched on something. You have to wear a lot of hats as a mom. And then you also have to do that in a startup.
Yeah.
So it's pressure. You're already equipped for it, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's important. Do you think that we're over documenting childhood now, or do you feel like we're finally capturing what previous generations have lost?
Yeah. Oh, I really like this question. Man, there's two camps here, right? There is the memory minimalist and the memory maximalist, right? Two different types of people. And it's really going to depend on how that person is in real life outside of their phone. So, you have the minimalist mothers who have a very set amount of things that they have for their children, or a set amount of a way that they're going to provide extracurriculars and so on and so forth. And those in my brain are the minimalists. And then you've got the maximalists who have as much as they can provide at all times. We're going to do multiple sports and multiple things. And those people usually I find are the maximalists. They're taking the most photos and videos of their kids. I always tell people, because I have both of those types of clients, and both of those types of clients come to me with, oh, I've taken too much, and oh, I've taken too little. Like they both are upset at themselves for the way that they are. Right. And I always tell the both of them, it doesn't matter. However, it serves you and your family is the best way to do it. Just like the way you feed your newborn, just like this type of school you put your child in, just like if you buy your kids only wooden toys or all the plastic Fisher-Price toys. Like it's whatever serves your family the best. The only way that I can see that we are documenting our kids incorrectly is if we are forcing them into situations they do not want to be in, right? Like we are forcing them into taking videos and photos that they don't want to participate in, or we are using them for our own financial gain. Other than that, if we forget about, if we don't have those two pieces, to me, if you take 100 photos a day of your newborn or you take one, it's perfect. It's whatever is best for you. And when I talk about like forcing your kid into something they don't want to take, I'm not talking about asking them to take a photo with their grandparents on Christmas. It's more like the constant, like if your kid doesn't like to do a photo shoot or they don't want you to, like there'll be times I'll be recording my kids where we're playing a game or something and I'll take a video of us really quick to video and they'll be like, don't video us right now. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I'll just put my phone away. Or I'll ask them permission first. Like there's a lot of times where my kids will have friends over and I'll go outside and say, hey, can I take a video of you guys all really quick and I'll send it to your mom too. And if they are like, yeah, we'd like that, then I'll take it. And if they say no, then I'm like, okay, great. And I walk right in. And it's not getting upset that they're not allowing us to do that. I think there are times where our kids are going to hem and haw the first day of school, on their birthday, etc. Those types of things to me as a parent are just like non-negotiables. Like my kids know I'm going to get a picture of you on your birthday and I'm going to get a picture of you on the first day of school. And that's just the way that it is. And if, sorry, but it's just one photo, but it's the constant phone in their face, always recording. Yeah, exactly. Like, am I choosing to record playing with them for 15 minutes instead of recording them for 30 seconds and then playing with them for 14 minutes and 30 seconds?
Right.
There's a balance and we can, it can be figured out. It's really not hard. We just put too much pressure on ourselves to do it the right way. But I think that there is a way to do it correctly.
I think what's important about what you said is the asking for permission, but also your children feel comfortable enough to express a boundary.
Yeah, right.
Right. And so maybe there are children that don't feel comfortable or they don't have the language around just saying no, right? Just the simple, they're maybe trying to please their parents. So I think that that's something that's important to instill in children, that if you don't want me taking a video or
just say no.
It's okay to say no to mom. It's okay. You're not going to get in trouble. It's fine.
Right.
I like that. I like that.
Or as the parent being able to read their body language of they're saying yes to you, but it's more like okay. And then you as the parent saying, oh, don't worry about it. It's no big deal. We'll do it another time. And moving on with your day.
Yeah, I think that is extremely important. Thanks for talking about that. What would you say is the difference between the mom you thought you'd be and the mom you actually are? And which version do you like better?
Oh gosh, that's a good question too. Wow. Gosh. Well, first of all, the mom I thought I would be would have more kids than I have.
Okay.
So that was the first shocker for me. We had two back to back. And that was so difficult that we waited 8 years and now I'm pregnant with our third. So we're going to have a huge age gap. But we wanted more. So that was the first part. Was I always thought I would have at least 4 kids. So I thought I would be the type of mom who would just be so, like, nothing would bother me. Like, I would be so easygoing. I would not stress. There were so many things that surprised me that stressed me out. Like when my kids were starting kindergarten for the first time and like choosing what type of school they would go to. I was not prepared for how much anxiety it would cause me to decide if our kids were going to go to a private school or a public school. Like that was insane. And so I don't know necessarily if it was like one persona of a mother, but more like I thought I would handle these situations differently than the way I ended up handling them, right? Or the way that they impacted me. But I will say, I do actually would prefer, I think, the mom that I am, because I do think that the type of person that I am loves answers, and I love to solve problems. Hence a company that is providing a problem solving service, right?
Right.
And I think that my kids are better off having a parent who appreciates researching the best possible option for them, knowing what's available, being really in tune with the fact that they're not doing well and how can I help them manage their feelings in a different way. However, there is a lot of me that wishes it didn't stress me out so much. There's a lot of me that wishes I could go, every day without, stressing about something. But I've also kind of come to the realization of, this stress is a feeling for me, and it's going to come and it's going to go. And if I just allow it, if I just feel stressed, I name it, I explain what I'm stressed about, then it usually resolves itself on its own, and I can move past it.
Yeah, naming it is powerful.
Yeah, for sure.
Avoiding it makes it worse.
Yes.
Fully makes it worse. I have one last question for you. For moms listening who have a creative idea, but maybe they're scared to start their business, what would you tell them?
Oh gosh. I would say there's nothing hurting to start, right? Like there's no harm in trying something and seeing what sticks or how it's accepted in the community that you're a part of. I say go for it. Right. Having a creative outlet as a mom is an extremely powerful tool. And even if nothing comes of it in a financial way, you are providing yourself with some joy and creative outlet and feeling of accomplishment. And that in and of itself is extremely valuable. If my business were to die tomorrow and I were to have to go and teach again or work in an office, I would never stop editing videos because it provides me with so much joy and fulfillment in my own soul that I could not be a good mom without doing that. So if it brings you that much joy that you would want to do it for a living, then you can find a way to do it. And if you don't, then don't stop because it's too important not to.
I agree. And it hurts you more not to try as opposed to failing.
What if?
You don't hurt when you fail. You essentially learn, right? So if you fail, you can either learn from that and try again from a different path, or you could say, okay, I tried.
Yeah, right. Or find someone who's maybe already done it successfully and try to work for them too. Like, there's a lot of ways around, there's a lot of ways to do it without owning your own business because maybe you don't want that stress on yourself. So maybe finding someone who's already done it and joining their team and figuring out a way to contribute to their success would also provide value to you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Kalee, for spending time, being authentic, sharing your stories, providing advice. We always love this on Mom Life Unfiltered. Appreciate you being here. And I know that this episode is going to be helpful for other moms. So thank you so much.
Oh, well, thank you. I really appreciate it. I love talking with you today. So thanks.
Thank you.